Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NFL Quick Talk podcast. If you have not already, subscribe to the channel below. And it is mock draft season here on the pod. So 1.0 coming at you right now, 2.0 coming at you in 2-ish weeks when the NFL Combine's over and Combine grades have been given out and players have risen and fallen. And 3.0 coming at you as close to the draft as possible, plus draft coverage and post-analysis. Two trades that I will be conducting here, and I don't want to fall down the rabbit hole, so there are plenty of other ones that could happen, but these are my two hypothetical ones, both involving the Bears. My first trade is that the Bears trade Justin Fields to Atlanta for a third-round pick and a conditional second-round pick if Fields plays 75% or more of the snaps. I think this trade makes a lot of sense, and my next trade is that Washington sells the house for that first overall pick, as you can see on your screen here. Now let's get right into the picks. With the first overall pick, the Washington Commanders select Caleb Williams, possibly the easiest selection since Trevor Lawrence to the Jags a couple years ago. Caleb Williams, obviously generational talent, obvious number one, will fit in well with the established weapons that the Commanders already have in Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. I think it'll work out very well for them on that front. And on the second front, the Washington Commanders hired Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator, who was Caleb Williams' quarterback's coach at USC. So obvious pick there. With the number 2 overall selection, the Chicago Bears select Drake May, the Josh Allen of this group. Great build at 6'4", 230, already a pro basically, and looks like the most NFL-ready quarterback, very polished passer, and will fit in great with Chicago and the receiver, sneak peek, that they'll get later on in the draft, and they already have DJ Moore with other weapons. I think this is a great fit. With the number 3 overall pick, the New England Patriots take Jaden Daniels, uber athletic and a true dual threat. And the Pats really need that complexity in their offense. It was super basic last year, just the most basic offense ever last year for the Patriots, and they need that complexity. Jaden Daniels, probably the most athletic quarterback in this class, and really a do-it-all player. At number 4, the Arizona Cardinals make the easiest decision ever, drafting Marvin Harrison Jr., generational wide receiver like his dad, and Kyler Murray needs a true number 1 overall threat at wide receiver, and these two will make quite a duo. At number 5, the Los Angeles Chargers take Brock Bowers here, a tight end that Coach Harbaugh will love, coupled with a need at the position since Gerald Everett left, and I think this is a perfect fit for a scheme like Coach Jim Harbaugh runs. They could take a tackle here, but I think that they have some solid tackles already in Slater, who they got in the first round a year or two back. So I think Brock Bowers here is a logical choice. With the 6th overall pick, the Giants select Malik Nabers, a certified number 1, really their first since OBJ, let's be honest here, with big playability and elite overall talent. He's a true number 1 in most drafts, if not for Marvin Harrison Jr., and the Giants are in desperate need of wide receiver help, let's be honest. I mean, their best player was like Darius Slayton. So let's get New York Giants a certified number 1 here with Malik Nabers. And with the 7th overall pick, I have the Tennessee Titans taking, and I know I'm going to butcher this, Olumwa Fashanu, and I have him slightly better than Joe Alt because Fashanu played another year. He looks just more like an NFL prospect, elite hands, and that's something that Joe Alt struggles with a little bit, his hand placement. But the Titans shore up their offensive line, getting Fashanu with Peter Skoronski on the other side, and they have generational talent at tackle for years to come. At number 8, since Atlanta got Justin Fields, they take Dallas Turner, edge from Alabama here. This is an elite edge rusher, has tested really well so far throughout the combine, and this is probably Atlanta's worst position group, the defensive line, losing Calais Campbell, and he was their best player, and he's not a very good player, so helping to shore up that defensive line, best defensive end in the whole draft, and a good fit overall. At number 9, I have the Chicago Bears taking Rome Odunze, and I already spoiled this a little bit beforehand, but he's an all-around great player, excels in speed and route running, great pair with DJ Moore for Drake May. And rounding out the top 10, we have the New York Jets taking Joe Alt. He is an elite build and an elite talent. He's 6'8", 322. Man, he is a big tackle. Only drawback is that he isn't as experienced as players like Fashanu, and his handwork needs to be upgraded a little bit more. But from there, he will be a great player to protect Aaron Rodgers because he needs protection. Let's be honest. And with the 11th pick, the Vikings take J.J. McCarthy, quarterback from Michigan. And a lot of untapped potential still here with J.J. McCarthy. He has a plus arm talent, and he just never really got a chance to showcase the best of his abilities because they were running the ball a lot, like a lot at Michigan. And Minnesota probably not going to pay Kirk Cousins upwards of $30 million like he is demanding because they want to pay Justin Jefferson. And I think this pick makes a lot of sense here. The Denver Broncos take Terrion Arnold, the first corner off the board. He's a really good corner, really great corner out of Alabama. And it'll be a very great duo with him and Pat Surtain, and it'll shore up the Denver secondary, one of many position needs there, but they shore up at least one of them here. And with the 13th pick, the Raiders take certified tackle J.C. Latham out of Bama, elite tackle, and they usually turn out pretty well coming out from Bama. And Las Vegas is very thin at offensive tackle, so a good start to rebuilding that offensive line in Vegas. And New Orleans here takes Talias Fuaga, and this mini run on tackles continues as Fuaga is one of the more polished tackles in this year's draft, and this roster is already pretty solid for New Orleans. I think they can really do some good things this year if they make the right moves, but they do need a tackle here, and I think that they get a good one here in Fuaga. At number 15, the Indianapolis Colts cannot pass up on Quinion Mitchell, an elite talent. He has tested very well here at the Combine recently, and he doesn't have the best experience playing against the best players coming from Toledo, but uber athletic and will fit right in as cornerback 1 for Indy. Halfway done here with the 16th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks take Terzon Newton, a freaky athletic talent for defensive tackle. I think he even played on the edge a little bit too, very versatile. And with a new defensive head coach in Mike McDonald, Terzon Newton gives him a movable piece to help in the trenches. With the 17th pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars take Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State. And with Calvin Ridley very probably leaving, and the wide receiver room being pretty thin regardless, really only Christian Kirk, a big body receiver like Coleman will fit in very nicely. And with the 18th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Amarius Mims. Cincinnati's offensive line was again below average, even with the addition of Orlando Brown, so they shore up the opposite side of that offensive line with Amarius Mims. Great talent out of Georgia, and hopefully they keep Burrow healthy because he has been hurt a lot because of his offensive line gives him no time. Picking at number 19, the Los Angeles Rams select Nate Wiggins, corner from Clemson. Big, long corner who has tested very well so far through the Combine. And big, long corners are a current trend in the NFL, and they continue to work out. And the Rams cannot pass on a guy with all the physical traits and experience at a position of need like corner. With the 20th overall pick, the Steelers select Jackson Powers Johnson, center from Oregon. Cutting Mason Cole leaves a wide open vacancy at center. There's not really many good centers in free agency, so it makes sense that the Steelers take him here, and they cannot pass on this very physically gifted interior offensive lineman. At 21, the Dolphins select Laiatu Latu, simply taking the best player available. Laiatu's 13 sacks in his final year, and keep in mind, college plays less games, really 12 games. So 13 sacks in 12 games was very good and should be a great addition here to Miami. At 22, the Eagles select Cooper DeJean, a do-it-all player that does not miss tackles, plays both safety and corner, so can slot in wherever Philadelphia needs him, and greatly needed on an Eagles secondary that imploded last season. The Houston Texans here take Jared Verse. The Texans create a speed rush unmatched by anyone else with two speed freaks in Verse and Will Anderson Jr., who just won Defensive Player of the Year. And this solidifies their pass rush position for many years to come. At 24, the Dallas Cowboys take Tyler Guyton, a polished, refined tackle from Oklahoma. This tackle class is incredibly deep this year. I'm just realizing that. And Dallas has a need for a pass protector since they lost Ty Smith to free agency. Great guard, but he's a bit older. And Guyton is a great addition to do just that. He's 6'7", 328. So great size, great talent, very refined, will fit well with Dallas. Green Bay here takes Kool-Aid McKinstry. Green Bay replaces Rasul Douglas with an excellent cover corner that can play both man or zone and offers the flexibility to play in the slot if possible. Kool-Aid McKinstry, great player, elite speed here. He's a very speedy corner and will fit well with Green Bay. And with the 26th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take an interior offensive lineman, Graham Barton, very NFL ready. Tampa Bay creates a monster mash in the middle of that offensive line with Cody Mock and Graham Barton both playing the guard position. They get two premium guards for rookie deals for the next couple years, and I think this will really help out their running game. The Arizona Cardinals here take offensive tackle Troy Fautanu. Arizona needs a pass protector for Murray, and that is much needed. And really, throughout this first round here, taking Marvin Harrison Jr. and Fautanu, Arizona has amassed quite a selection here for the offense, and they should really be a team that upgrades significantly from what they did last year with these two picks. Buffalo here takes Chop Robinson, has tested very well, still needs to touch up his technique a bit, but has the potential to wreak havoc in this league. And he'll be lining up opposite Greg Rousseau, creating a pretty nice pass rush there for Buffalo. The Detroit Lions, with the 29th overall pick, take Kamari Lassiter from Georgia. The Lions are desperate for a corner and reach a bit for this one, but it will be well worth it because Lassiter is a ball hawk, and he will need to be trained a little bit. He'll need to get that experience up a bit, but I think in time, Lassiter will be a great cornerback one for the Detroit Lions. With the 30th overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens take Byron Murphy II out of Texas. The Ravens add to their defensive line with an instant upgrade at defensive tackle and a very Ravens move here to take a defensive tackle at this position. And with the 31st overall pick, the San Francisco 49ers take Kingsley Suamataia, a offensive tackle from BYU. He's a big BYU tackle. Really, he's got the traits of an elite offensive tackle, but he needs that refinement, and he'll get it in San Francisco, and he will have the opportunity to start instantly as they have a need there for an offensive tackle, and I think that he will develop very nicely into a really good offensive tackle for San Francisco. And with the last pick, the 32nd overall pick, the Kansas City Chiefs take Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, the wide receiver. Kind of played in the shadow of Malik Neighbors a bit, but still he's a certified number one on 99% of all college football teams out there. And I think that Patrick Mahomes will thank the Kansas City Chiefs mightily for this one now that he has a certified number one wide receiver, not Marcus Valdez-Scantling or Kadarius Toney or whatever that was, but they have a legit number one receiver here in Brian Thomas Jr. Thank you all so much for watching all the way through. Subscribe to the channel if you liked the video. Like the video as well. Leave a comment on how you think your favorite team will approach the draft, and comment that down below. Also enable alerts by clicking the bell icon. We have more mock drafts coming out, more content coming out every week. So subscribe to the channel and enable alerts for that. And I don't think there's a in-depth mock draft like I did right here that's 13 minutes long. So for that, go ahead and share with a friend, and I'll see y'all in the next one.